The day Clara found her family in leather jacket. The morning sun spilled across the chrome edges of Maplewood Diner, a place where the smell of butter and syrup usually promised warmth and comfort. But that day, no amount of sunlight could erase the darkness that crept in through cruelty. At a booth near the window sat Clara, a young girl in a wheelchair. Her plate of pancakes rested in front of her like a fragile shield against the world. Her face carried the quiet strength of someone who had endured much, but her trembling hands betrayed her unease. At the booth next to hers sat a group of boys. They didn't just laugh at her. They crossed a line that should never be crossed. One of them slapped the plate from her lap, sending pancakes crashing to the floor. Another shoved her wheelchair back with a mocking laugh. The diner froze. The clatter of dishes was swallowed by the sound of their laughter. Clara's eyes welled with tears. She tried so hard to hold them back, but humiliation burned hotter than pain. A candle in the darkness. If you believe kindness should always conquer cruelty, that second chances matter and no one deserves to be treated this way, please take a moment right now to like this video, share it, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Together, we can remind the world that compassion is stronger than hate. Clara's life had never been easy. Born with a spinal condition, she relied on her wheelchair every day. Her parents told her that her spirit was meant to soar even if her legs could not, and she clung to that belief. But the world seemed determined to test her. Most days, she faced pitying glances or whispered remarks. But what she endured that morning was cruelty sharp enough to wound the soul. As the boys cheered, others in the diner lowered their heads. A few shook with quiet disapproval, but none acted. The waitress froze in the aisle, fear on her face, coffee trembling in her hands. Clara bent forward, awkwardly trying to gather her pancakes from the floor, desperate not to make more of a scene. That's when another hand reached down. Gentle, steady. An older man with gray at his temples quietly set the plate back in front of her. "Don't mind them," he whispered, though his eyes darted nervously toward the bullies. It was a small candle flickering in a room full of shadows. But Clara still felt broken in ways no one could see. The storm arrives. An hour passed. Clara sat in silence, her appetite gone, praying for the nightmare to end. And then it happened. A low rumble shook the windows. At first, it sounded like thunder. But as it grew louder, heads turned toward the glass. Dozens of motorcycles rolled into the parking lot, chrome glinting in the daylight. The engines growled like an approaching storm. The unmistakable insignia on their leather jackets made conversations stop mid-sentence. Hell's Angels. The bullies who just minutes earlier wore arrogance like armor suddenly shrank in their seat. Their smirks faltered. Fear crept in. The diner's bell jingled softly as the door swung open. A towering man with a beard and steel-hard eyes stepped inside. His vest was heavy with patches, his boots loud against the tile. Behind him came another, then another, until the air itself felt charged. Clara's eyes widened, her pulse racing with both fear and wonder. The leader's gaze swept over the room. When it landed on Clara, his expression softened, as if he understood everything without a word. The turning point. He walked toward her booth, knelt beside her wheelchair, and met her eyes. For the first time since that morning, Clara didn't feel small. She felt seen. She felt protected. Then he turned toward the bullies. They froze, pale faces betraying their guilt. Not one dared laugh now. The leader's voice was low and steady, but powerful enough to cut through silence. Though Clara couldn't hear the exact words, she saw the shame wash across their faces. One by one, their bravado melted. They slid out of the booth and stumbled toward the exit, heads bowed, too ashamed to look at anyone, especially Clara. Outside, the motorcycles formed a wall of chrome and leather. The boys didn't stop running until they were gone. A family found. But the man, whose name was Roar, wasn't finished. He called the waitress over, placed a large bill on the table, and told her to bring Clara anything she wanted. Pancakes, milkshakes, pie. The whole menu if she liked. Then he looked Clara in the eyes and said, You're stronger than any coward who tried to break you." And in a moment no one in that diner would ever forget, he removed his own leather vest, the same vest stitched with the proud insignia of the Hells Angels, and draped it across her shoulders. "You're family now," he said. Tears streamed down Clara's cheek. Not of humiliation, but of gratitude. What began as a morning of pain had become a morning of transformation. She realized kindness can come from the most unexpected places, and sometimes the fiercest-looking people carry the softest hearts. The legacy. The diner erupted in quiet applause. The waitress hugged Clara, promising she'd never again sit in that diner feeling invisible. For the first time in a long time, Clara felt hope. She understood something she had always longed to believe. Cruelty exists, but so does courage. And sometimes, strangers can step in to rewrite the ending of your story.